shot. On our old setup, there was like some tips of like, don't worry about how you're sitting, like, but then now the table guards it, so
It's great.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm not worried.
Okay. Well, hello, Pop Podcast listeners. Welcome to the Pop Podcast. Once again, we are back in 2026 in the new setup. Very excited to be here. Our guest today is, I was going to call you like Dr. Reverend, because that's what it feels like, but it's not. Those aren't real titles for you. So, Jared Bell. Jared Bell is here. Hey, Jared.
Hello, everyone.
Thanks for showing up, man.
Thanks for inviting me.
So a normal thing for the Pop Podcast is that we have a drink to share with one another, and you're gonna have to rate it. Hopefully, you don't have any dietary restrictions. What we have, so the rating scale that you'll rate at the end of the podcast is on a -10 to a +10.
We can go negative.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So the 0 is like neutral, like that's like water is gonna be 0, right?
Yeah.
For most people. If you're a 1, you kind of like it. If you're a -1, you're now actively disliking it. Okay. So this is I'm not going to try and pronounce it. It's a protein milkshake, ultra filtered milkshake. So don't tell me what you think about it now, but you have to drink it and rate it at the end of this whole thing. So, man, it smells interesting. Cheers.
Do I have to shake it? Should I have shaken this?
I don't think so.
Oh, it smells like vanilla.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Again, thank you for joining. Just a little bit of background. Why don't you, I don't know. Like, we went to youth group together.
Yeah.
And then you left because you hate us and the people around here.
The secret's out.
And then you came back because you're like, it's maybe not that bad. And then you left again because you're like, yeah, it was that bad. So I'm just kidding. We've
Couldn't have said it better myself.
We've known each other for a long time. I guess I'm just interested on, telling the people how long you were here, that you've grown up here, and maybe a couple of key stories from your time in this area of Northern California.
Yeah. Well, I think we moved up here to Placerville when I was maybe 5 or 6. So, I'm 25 now, so we've been here for 20 years. And
you're 25?
25.
So have you had your quarter life crisis?
Dude, I'm experiencing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Continue.
So we've been around for a long time. We've attended this church for a long time. I was actually thinking today, like, oh, man, when was, like, the first time I ever met Daniel? I don't even really remember it.
Yeah.
It's one of those relationships that you've just gone for so long.
Yeah.
It's like I don't remember where it began. But, yeah, like you said, I mean, I left, I think, originally to go to college, and that was kind of the first separation. So I went to Westmont College in Santa Barbara, which I have family down there, so it made it, pretty straightforward. But then after that, getting to go to D.C. and work for a congressman for a bit kind of broadened my perspective on life and where I thought I would be going. I think, like most people, I always imagined myself like graduating college and then just coming back to where I knew was home, and then just starting another life here and continuing on. But after going to D.C. and then traveling and studying abroad and stuff, I realized that I can make life what I want it to be, as adventurous as I want it to be. I think one of the beauties of following Jesus is that he invites us into this radical, adventurous, joyful, extreme way of life that isn't just staying where you started.
Yeah.
And so I've kind of been on that journey for the last few years since I graduated. Now I still live in D.C., so I'm just visiting for the holidays.
Yeah.
But I have no idea where I'll end up this year. I'll have no idea where I end up, 3 years from now, or if I ultimately get married and have kids, like where settling down will look like. I like to think that I'll come back to California and put roots down here with family, but that's just part of the journey of giving up your own plans and being excited to not know what's next. So,
yeah, so those of you out there that stayed in the town that you grew up in, you're boring. That's the moral of the story, I think.
Boring is a strong word. I'm just saying you might be leaving some things on the table. But really,
No,
I think especially when it comes to traveling, it's as simple as you just buy a ticket and you go and you figure it out. I think most people are limited by this belief that you have to have saved like so much money and have this huge plan. And
there's got to be an itinerary. There's got to be something that we're going to do and see.
No, just
experience.
Go and figure it out. Because once you kind of break through that first travel experience, then you're like, oh, I can do this again. Anywhere. I can go anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, our first meeting was somewhere in youth group that was like an implicit, hi, we're a part of the same team for this random youth group game.
Yeah.
And then I would say, like, though, because when you're in high school, like, your tight friends are the ones that are in your same grade or the one right below or right above. Yep. So I would say in high school, I was probably closer with your older brother, Ethan, who was only a year behind me. And kind of in that crew with us, and like you and Robbie Seibel and Abby and some of those different names were the younger kids at youth group that were a couple steps behind. And then it was after I had stuck around at youth group and became an intern. So then I was serving and you were growing up, and then your graduation party felt like the moment of, oh, now there's a friendship here. And it was marked by a kiss.
Oh, my gosh. I was like, he's not going there. There's no way. Hannah gets mortified every time I bring this up. There's no way Daniel's bringing this up on a podcast.
It was at your graduation party. Me and Hannah, my now wife, were dating. And we were sitting next to one another. And Jared grabs us a blanket. And he comes up right behind us. He puts his head right in between us after wrapping the blanket around us. And he gives me a kiss on the cheek.
Just got right in there.
Yeah. And he looks at Hannah and he just says, power move.
Yeah.
And then he walks away.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, there's a friendship here now.
Well, I sure hope so. Yeah. What an experience. Oh, my gosh. I had forgot about that.
Had you?
I had. I tried to put it behind me, you know. One of those like, wow, I can't believe that happened.
Yeah.
No, but for real, I think those kind of stories where you push the bounds of like polite friendship, like that's when you start moving towards what's real. And something I always talk about with people, especially in the context of like how do we walk the way of Jesus together, when you come at it with this understanding of like, if I believe we have an eternal timeline, and I believe you have an eternal timeline, then what we do right now goes on forever. And we don't have to worry about these like random kind
interactions
of, like they all just shuffle out at the end.
Yeah.
And we can worry about what's real and what matters, and we can invest in one another without the risk of us falling apart and rejection and never seeing each other again. Yeah. And I think that's a perspective most people only take with them when they talk about their family or like their blood brothers or whatever. Because they're like, oh, family, I'm going to treat my blood brother completely different than my roommate. But if we're both following Jesus, ultimately you could have that same kinship that allows you to go on.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if you're a Christian guy and you haven't kissed your guy friends on the cheek, then
you're missing out.
You're missing
Again,
out.
You're just boring.
Yeah. Wow. Really good stuff here off the bat.
Hey, this drink is kind of growing on me.
Yeah. At first I wasn't. We'll save it for the end. Yeah. But yeah. I think though our relationship became super close after you were in Romania. Because you had sent letters back of like, hey, here's the update, and you're like kind of fundraising, and you shared some experience, and then you had texted me, or maybe I texted you, and we had a phone conversation, and I remember it so clearly because I was waiting for my tires to be changed over in one of the cars that we had, and so I was just walking up and down the street, pacing. We talked for like an hour, and in your letter, you talked about how there was such a huge shift of your understanding of the Holy Spirit and how God works. And I remember our conversation was like, I feel like God is teaching me the same exact thing.
Yes.
And we have the same exact words for it too.
Yeah.
Which is so weird.
Yeah.
Because you're all the way over there, but I feel like God's doing the same thing inside of us in real time. And I feel like from there we went from like, oh yeah, that's my homie, to like, oh no. Yeah. There's just a different level, I guess.
Yeah. So for the listeners that maybe don't know, I got to go spend almost 4 months in Romania with this Englishman who's a missionary there. He's been there for almost 30 years. And went with this guy, Kyle, who I had done the summer program when I entered on the Hill. And the goal of it was not like a missions trip where we're going to build a house or whatever. It was really just, we had heard about this guy who knew Jesus and was dynamically alive in the Spirit, and we wanted to go hear from him, be taught by him, and live with him. And that was really the mission of the mission trip, or whatever you want to call it. And at least for me, going into that space of like having no real goals or expectations was very difficult because I didn't know how to justify what I was doing, especially to my parents. I think they want to see, like any good parent, they want to see you building a career, paying your student loans, like starting your own life, and not just like chasing after these random experiences. So it was really hard to communicate what I was being transformed in while I was there. But I think when it came to my personal relationship, I was becoming alive to this idea that Jesus is working at all times around me and in what I'm doing and in what I'm not doing. And ultimately it comes down to, am I looking for him? And Romania gave me the space to look for the Spirit moving, to slow down and cut out noise and just spend every day with someone else who also had the same vision. So I think Kyle being there made the world because it was someone to walk 2 by 2 with. Being able to look and say, at the end of the day, where'd you see the Spirit move? Where'd you see the Spirit move? And then often we would come to the same conclusion using the same words about what we experienced or what we were feeling. And it was just so dynamic every day. And it was like, all right, what is he going to do tomorrow? And then you add on dreams and whatever. But then to realize that not only were there people there with me in Romania that were experiencing the Spirit and having transformational seasons, but then also people back here, you, were on the same path, pursuing the same person, because we're all following the same person, whether it's in Romania or DC or in Placerville. And then realizing, oh my gosh, I have a shared experience with someone on the other side of the planet because we're following the same person.
Yeah. I think what you highlight there is that, one, travel is super important for a perspective shift.
Yeah.
But on a religious side or on a God side, it's seeking him. Yeah. And so how in your life can you create space to look for him and what he's doing in the everyday? And travel's a strategy. Podcasts, like just ruthless exploration of growing and learning and experiencing different settings or scenario. Like if you've grown up at the same church your whole life and you've never even visited another church, like it would be, hey, next Sunday, go somewhere different. Like,
Yeah,
go
could
see.
be. As
You
simple
don't
as
have to
that.
become a member of that church,
Yeah.
but go experience something radically different.
Yeah. Go see where Jesus is moving elsewhere
yes.
around you.
And that how people are expressing that growth or that change in a different way.
Yeah. What do you think, when I was in Romania, what do you think was the catalyst for your transformation spiritually here that you felt like was being paralleled? Like, what was that season of life like for you?
I think it was I don't know if I've thought about this like this before, but I think I was thrown in that season into a cast iron pan that was piping hot.
Yeah.
And so I was very uncomfortable in that season. Super uncomfortable. So, okay, I'll talk about it like this. I grew up in a Christian home. We changed churches and schools, but my parents' heart was that we would have the best learning experience and Jesus experience that we could.
Yeah.
And so we would switch up churches or schools to fit the season that we were in the best.
Yeah.
There's positives and negatives with that, but that was my parents' heart, and that's ultimately what I had. Was a phenomenal environment to learn and to hear and digest the things of heaven, of God. So comfortable and slow growth. And then things in my family got really weird, but then God gave me the companions whom I lived with. And then when I felt a call into ministry, they were the initial guide or entrance of like, here's what it is. And so I refer to them as my slow cooker.
Yeah.
That I was just slowly cooking and being marinated, being infused with making disciples and following Jesus. And it was comfortable still.
Yeah.
Like it's like the classic thing of the frog doesn't know it's boiling because it's a slow boil, right? You're not throwing them into a searing pot. They'll hang out in there and then they'll die because and that paints slow cooking in a negative light, which I don't want to do. But it's kind of that. Yeah, I didn't even know what I was being infused with, is what I'm trying to say. I didn't even know that I was cooking. I was kind of just living, but because I was doing it with them, I was in the crock pot. But then there's a time when the crock pot dings, and if you want that flavor to be locked in, you got to pull out that cast iron pan and slap that meat on there.
Give it
and
some
you got to
char.
hear that, right? So different leaders over that 2-year stretch were cast iron pan sizzle that were locking in the flavor that the Campania is slow cooked in. Yeah. And so between, and I think in that season specifically, it culminated with Robbie and just a ruthless, fine-tooth comb through everything that I do, every way that I'm thinking, every way that I'm living, and is it for God and the ministry that we're trying to do and the goals that we're trying to accomplish. Yeah. So why did I do what I did? And that was super hard and uncomfortable for me. I guess a physical change or something that popped up. Me and my wife were just talking about this. When we first got married, we had a conversation where if she wanted to critique me, I told her, here's what I need. I need you to reassure me that we're okay. I need you to give me the criticism. And I need you to reassure me again that we're okay. The classic compliment sandwich.
Okay.
Like, I cannot hear criticism. I will just spiral in that we're done. This is over. She wants to break up or she wants a divorce now that we're married. Like, this is over. I will spiral. I can't. I don't know what's going on. I just can't handle it. But now, because of the cast iron pan, I get frustrated with compliment sandwiches. Like, I've changed drastically. And so we just had a conversation where I'm like, I'm getting frustrated by you. Like, it feels like you're trying to sugarcoat this. Just tell me that I sucked. Yeah. And that I didn't do this thing. And that you needed me to do this thing. And then I will make the plan to shift. So the cast iron pan was that I was so radically uncomfortable that even though it was primarily work and organization, it caused my brain to go, what do I actually think about God? How does he actually work? Because I've just been slow cooking and stuff that I didn't really understand. Yeah. And so then it became a ruthless pursuit of him and how he actually works and functions in the world picture. And so whether that was podcasts or that was going to different churches or seeking out different conferences that were radically different than the faith tradition that I grew up in, and just having an open mind to go, God, are you here?
Yeah.
And going to places that I thought God never was and feeling him intensely, it was like, oh, I think this is all very different than what I thought. And what I found is that in the slow cooker, there were things that were cooked into me that I'm like, no, that wasn't good. Like I'm gonna shed that. And then there were things that I was like, oh, dude, I didn't understand this then, and now it's a completely another level.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's
so I
so
would
good.
say, like you were like, hey, in Romania, I was uncomfortable. I didn't know what the next day was going to look like, and God just showed up every day.
Yeah.
It was a similar thing for me of people that were hard on me to challenge me in how I'm thinking and functioning and whether that was okay. And then my part was choosing, no, it's not. They're right. And being humble enough to go, yeah, maybe I should listen and check this out instead of the classic young person thing of like, no, I got it.
No, you
It's
don't get me. I'm going to do my thing.
You don't understand the
Yeah,
context, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's all happening to me. I'm a victim. Like that. And I could feel myself in certain moments moving towards that.
Yeah.
But it was a choice to go, no, they could be right here. Let's seek this out at least. So I think the parallel is that we were both really, really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that we chase God instead of ourselves.
Which is kind of what you illustrated yesterday with your whole rope thing
Yeah.
during the sermon is really your life falls apart. That's like what you can guarantee anyone. Like at some point your life's going to fall apart.
Yeah.
And it's not how long can you keep your life together. It's how do you respond? How do you find the way back out?
Yeah.
And the only way back out, the only way that's unending, the only path that doesn't end is Jesus.
Yeah.
I think coming out of Romania, realizing that, like, I can speak with Jesus and expect to hear from him. And then that has kind of rolled into the season I'm in now where, so I live in this house with these 4 guys in D.C., but we started together praying one night a week. 3 of us lived at a different house, and then one guy was just a friend that kind of decided to join in. And we wanted to make a commitment and look for Jesus, ask him about what was happening in our lives, and then come back the next week and expect to hear an answer and share with each other what was the answer, how was Jesus interacting with us, how were we being directed, what was that like, and just to share life on a spiritual level with one another. And we did that for 4 months. And then quickly, radically, we're pulled together. It became less about, okay, guys, I'm dealing with this in my life. Can you pray for me to make sure that this goal of mine or this obstacle is out of the way? And it became, Jesus, what are you doing? Jesus, just be with us, Jesus. Be with us, Jesus. Be with us, Jesus. Like we would just get together and we would expectantly wait for the Spirit to be present with us. And then we would just follow his lead. And so sometimes, then that made prayer really dynamic because it wasn't just, okay, we're going to sit here and each person's going to take a turn and pray out loud. Yeah. It was, okay, we're going to sit here and maybe we'll play a worship song. Sometimes we'd take communion together. Sometimes we'd journal. And sometimes we'd show up and right off the bat, someone would be like, dude, I had this dream about this guy I haven't talked to in 15 years. I think I should reach out to him. Yeah. Let's pray about it. And then during that prayer, someone would go, yeah, dude, I saw you and this guy. You need to reach out to him. And then the next week it'd be like, how'd it go? And you're like, dude, this is crazy. He did this and this. And he had no idea.
So I'm sure that this has happened before. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Was there ever a moment that someone brought up like, hey, I think I'm supposed to reach out to this person and reconcile or whatever scenario.
Yeah.
And they did. And it kind of wasn't amazing.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, I don't know
Yeah.
what happened. They never,
No, it happened all the time.
they never reached back out. It actually went really bad. They started yelling at me. What was, without breaking confidence, what
Yeah.
was maybe one of those scenarios? And how did you guys as a group
Yeah.
move through that?
Stuff like that will happen. Like one of the guys had a dream about this guy he used to play baseball with back in Chicago. And it was a dream about him and his mother or something. And he's like, dude, I have no idea what this guy's relationship with his mother is like, or I have no context other than that in the dream. There was no like, and tell him this secret phrase. And like, it doesn't really work like that. I don't know, maybe sometimes. And then when he reached out, the guy was like, oh, cool, thanks, bro. And then like, that was just it.
Yeah.
It was just anticlimactic. There was no impact.
Yeah.
But I think half of it is, Jesus wants us to practice obedience, regardless of the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So oftentimes those opportunities are for us to practice with Jesus, rather than being this like prophetic voice to some other person. Like that's rarely what Jesus wants from us, and he definitely doesn't need it from us.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the anticlimactic happens often. I don't know if we've had an experience where someone was like had a super negative reaction, like, "Oh my gosh, how could you? Why'd you say that? That was totally like get out of my face," or whatever. Or we haven't had that experience yet. But I think it just comes. It's more of an opportunity to be obedient, and often. I feel like often it's become less and less like, oh, I need to bring this to the group and pray about it before I do it. And now guys will just do it on their own and then tell us about it afterwards. And a lot of it now has to do with our own families. Like I think that's where most of it has been, whether it's someone that has an alcoholic member of their family, or their sister eloped and is now pregnant, and their family's just literally just exploding.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we're not looking for some special revelation on how to deal with this. The answer is, how do we love the people that are most broken, that are closest to us? Like, it's not some mysterious path.
Yeah.
It's how do you do the hard thing?
Yeah.
It's not complex, but it is very, very hard.
Well, and I think so much, especially in like a more conservative culture of Christianity versus a more Pentecostal or more expressive, I guess you'd label it, culture of Christianity, that the thoughts you can have in your head when you have a dream like that is like, was that really God? Was that just me? Like, I don't want to make it me. I want it to be God. And we talk ourselves out of doing anything, speaking anything, or moving on it in any way because we don't want it to be us. And that's a good heart.
For sure.
And I think we're called to be bold, and it's okay to mess up on these things.
Yeah.
And I think the access to the information on the internet has damaged us in this because we've seen the horrible ways that people have twisted and malformed the gifts of the Holy Spirit to go out and interact with people. Yeah. And we think that we're that if we mess up at all. Yeah. And we just aren't.
Yeah. And that's
so
where having friends.
You have to just go talk.
Yeah.
You have to say it.
You have to do the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just see and be willing to go, oh no, I messed it up here.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that was just a random dream, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't think that was God. Yeah. I know I said I thought it was, but it's not.
Yeah. Like, there was one time I felt like it wasn't a dream, but I was sitting eating breakfast in the morning in Maryland, and I thought I was being called to go sit on this bench because there's going to be someone that came and sat next to me, and I was supposed to be there. And so I go over to this bench at 10 a.m., and I wait for an hour, and it starts to rain, and I wait for 30 more minutes. And no one showed up. And then I went home. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, okay, is that my voice? Did I misunderstand? Was the point to me just go? Did I go and someone was supposed to meet me and they were
didn't
disobedient?
listen? Yeah.
And you just have no idea.
Yeah.
But you do it anyways, and then you try again. There's a song that has a line that says, faith is like free falling sometimes. And I love that because faith isn't knowing, it's trusting. And you just jump.
I saw this Instagram something or whatever story, I guess you call it. I get mixed up between like reels and shorts and
Just call them whatever you want, dude.
I saw something on the death hole that is social media.
Yeah.
And it was a pastor preaching on this exact thing. And he had an illustration of, he was doing a magic trick.
Yeah.
And I wish I could remember the trick to show exactly how he did it. But it was a magic trick, and his point was, in magic, if I tell you how it's going to go, you know 100% how I did it.
Yeah.
You know, and so then you'll do it. You'll be a part of it. But what you've lost in that is faith.
Yeah.
Because faith is what happened when you didn't know everything. So in a culture that we want to know everything, we're actually losing faith.
Yeah.
Because we're just seeking to know 100% whether that was God or not. And he wants faith, not knowledge.
You know what that reminds me of? I was hoping I'd bring it up.
Okay.
But when it comes to the Eucharist and communion, that is the question.
Yeah.
Does this bread and wine become Jesus' real body and blood? Or is it a symbol? Does it take faith? Do we get to explain how it happens? Like the Catholics will explain it's transubstantiation, like it molecularly does this, and we looked at it, and there's miracles that happen. But then like Orthodox or others will just say, it is, and we don't know how, but you believe, and the belief is half of it.
Yeah.
So like one of my roommates, we talk about this all the time. And one of the things he'll say is, if you believe it's just a symbol, then it will never be more than a symbol to you. If you believe it can be more, then it might be more. And your perspective of what it can be, like that's what Jesus wants us to hold on to, is this faithful mysticism in a way of like, dude, I don't know how to argue with someone if this becomes the real blood and body, but Jesus makes it pretty clear how important this is and how divisive this is.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to keep it as just this little thing that we do every now and then that's like kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like it has to be something crazy.
Yeah.
But I just don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna just do it in faith.
Yeah.
And
so, okay, I'm curious in this conversation.
Yeah.
I would say my current perspective that is open to change. Is that I don't care whether it turns into Christ's flesh and blood in my stomach or it doesn't. Sure. Okay. That it's not apathy. It's just that fact of communion doesn't matter to me. That he's told me, do this in remembrance of me. So if I am doing something in remembrance of him, it is hallowed ground that I am stepping on. And whether I'm eating human flesh, that it turns into Jesus' flesh in my stomach or not, just doesn't it just doesn't matter to me. But the reverence of that moment, slowing down our cadence and making sure that we value the moment of communion, at whatever rhythm you do it on, that's the most important thing to me. So
I hear that.
Yeah.
But it also rubs me, like I think the way we take communion matters as much as what we think about it, or the way we take communion reflects the way we think about it. So I'm used to growing up with, you get this little plastic cup and it has a little juice and it has a little wafer or whatever, and you just unwrap it and whatever. And for whatever reason, that just rubs me the wrong way that that's the way we take communion, because it feels so individualized and like prepackaged. Like, here's prepackaged Jesus, so you can like check this thing off your list of, I was a good Christian because I took communion. But the practice that me and my roommates do when it comes to communion is we get, real baked bread and a real cup of wine, and we actually give it to one another. So if we were sitting in a room and my roommate Owen's there, I actually like give him a piece of bread, tear it and say, Owen, the body of Christ broken for you, and I give it to him. And same with the blood, and I say, Owen, the blood of Christ shed for you, and I give it to him. And it becomes this communal, this fellowshipping that happens together in remembrance of Jesus, as he did with his disciples. And something about that intimacy of communion, of me literally like handing you the bread and the blood and communicating to you the emotional impact of this person that we love, this is like me handing him to you.
Yeah.
I don't know, that has changed the gravitas for me when we take communion together, because it not only is a reflection of my individualized relationship with Jesus, but my fellowship with these guys. And there's something about that fellowship, I think, that is missed often in church. And I don't know what the solution is, but I don't know if you can take too much time like sharing communion with one another. That's my take on it.
I 100% agree with the real bread, the real wine. When we start thinking about bigger groups and kids,
okay, maybe it's just
like
grape juice,
right?
everybody.
Right. Like, but that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're talking about the hallowed, like I said, the hallowed ground.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. I'm not fond of the plastic cups.
Yeah.
It's actually an expression from COVID, because it wasn't quite like that. It came around on plates with it was cups, but it was just the bread that was underneath, and it's a system of larger groups of people of how do you get the elements to them.
Yeah.
But someone handing it to you, right?
Yeah.
From a gold plate. Like that was the expression. And COVID went like, nah, let's just make it like then no one's touching it, no one's preparing it. Like boom. And I don't like it either.
Yeah.
And this is pertinent because we just did a Sunday that we did communion, that you were here. I cannot stand the popping of those cups. I can't stand it.
It was so loud.
It makes me upset. It really does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. Maybe these are strong things to share on
but they're so
direct conflict
relevant
with how we do it. But yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. I think inherently the plastic cups in the form that they're in give a sense of, let's just get this done.
Yeah. It's like consumerized communion.
Yeah.
Which, whatever. But I think that's where, like, my generation of young people, and I mean, now I'm not, fresh out of high school, but the new generations of young people are looking for they're looking for real heart. And when it comes to Jesus in the church, they're looking for the spaces that highlight and elevate the real connection that Jesus brings together with us. So one of the passages I've been trying to meditate on recently is the first letter of John, the first chapter. And he starts it, and he does these like 7 verses. And the heart of the 7 verses, he goes on, and he says it in the same way. He talks about how, and the life appeared to us, and we beheld him with our eyes and our touch, and we saw and felt and were with him. And that's the fellowship that we enter into, is that we each experience the real person of Jesus. None of us are here just because someone told us about Jesus and we thought he was a pretty nice guy. It's because someone told us of Jesus' love and death, and Jesus encountered us.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here. And that's what young people are looking. That's what every people is looking for.
Yeah.
And the more that we can stay on the reality that we touch Jesus, we see we hear
Yeah.
Jesus.
We encounter, we experience.
He's not. He didn't leave us as orphans.
Yeah.
We're with Jesus. He's with us. And the more that we can stay on that, people just can not get enough of that. People desperately want that because that ultimately is the only real thing that exists.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the only real thing.
I've talked about this a ton, but I think like it's gonna get even more so on that front because with AI, with online, with deep fakes, with all fake information, what news outlet are you listening to? What are they feeding you? What is your algorithm feeding you? Like now that we're so aware of all these things and yet still engaging with them, it's this moment of, hey, I can't trust this anymore. Whereas before Google was like just the fact finder. Now it's like, can I trust the information that I'm seeing? And we want a real thing to grab a hold of as I grab a fake protein processed shake. But so we're seeing young people carry physical Bibles to church more than ever. More than ever, young people are grabbing a hold of something that they can touch, that they can open, that they can feel, that they can read, instead of just a phone Bible. And so what you're talking about of that real encounter of Jesus and emphasizing that real experience and orienting how we're communicating Jesus around that is more critical, I think, for this generation, our generation, than ever.
And I think it's really easy to talk about just be more real, be more authentic. Like people just need to see the real you. But it's terrifying because we're so naturally inclined to protect ourselves and to protect the identity that we've created, our pride. Because we want to be in control of the way that people look at us and judge us. And we care about not just what Jesus thinks, we care about what other people think. And so we guard and we, tell a little bit of this truth and a little bit of that truth so we can present well. But I think that's where a space like Regen is so impactful because you go into this space with these people and you share about what's really happening in your life and you practice vulnerability in a space that other people are doing the same. And you get to see, sometimes for the first time, what it's like to live without armor on. And you're like, oh my gosh. This is freedom. This is the freedom that Jesus told us about, told me about. I didn't realize you could live life this way. I didn't realize I could be who I am, the worst parts of me especially, authentically, and still be loved. Like that's the key. That was the key for me. And I think that more than anything has been the key that has unlocked others around me, is the more I can share vulnerably about whatever it is, whether it's pornography or alcohol or drugs or, like professional pride or whatever, the more authentic you can be in those spaces that people usually are not. People go, "Ooh, what do you mean? Why is this person talking about it like this? Don't they care what other people think?" And it's just, it takes over people.
There's a quote from, have you ever read the book by Dane Ortland, Gentle and Lowly? I'll have to send it to you. You don't read books a lot, I know, so.
Just
kidding. You read lots of books. So there's a quote from Gentle and Lowly, and I'm going to butcher it a little bit. It was in one of the candlelight services that I did. I put it in there, where it said, there's nothing you can do to offend God, like, away from you. And he's like, in human friendships, you can, if you betray enough, if you abuse the friendship enough, they will walk away, the walls will go up. He said, the darkest parts about you are the very resume items that qualify you for relationship with Jesus. And it's like, whoa.
That's hardcore, dude.
Right? So it's the good things don't those aren't what qualify you for relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
It's the darkest, the hardest parts about you that are the very resume items that qualify you to be in relationship with Jesus, that
Yep.
draw him to you.
Yeah.
And it's this whole idea of like, come to me, those who are heavy laden,
Yeah.
because my yoke carries a light burden.
Yeah.
It's this, we come to him with our heavy burdens, not with our light ones,
Yeah.
not with the things that we're good at.
Yeah.
And so then to even circle it back to communion, like that's what we're remembering,
Yeah.
is that his body was shed when mine was meant to.
Yep.
His blood was spilt when mine was meant to. Yeah. Okay. You talk a little bit on what I just said, but I'm going to look something up that goes with this, so stay on the same topic, and I don't want to butcher this, so
Yeah.
I want to nail it.
Yeah, I think what you said was spot on. I think when it comes to like trying to develop a sense of where is my identity, what do I need to bring out, especially in a time like communion, I think that's where the fellowship in a community sense matters so much, because I mean, I think this is something that Catholics do super well, is like when it comes to like the time of confession, like sharing these burdens with other people. It's not that telling someone else makes you more forgiven than if you just, prayed to Jesus. It's not about that. It's about some part of us as humans rely on the sharing of burdens communally. The affirmation with the mouth reflects the heart. And so when you share how you've sinned, how you've messed up, how you've stumbled with another person, it matters, and it changes how you experience forgiveness. So I think when I look at young people that are coming out of high school and college right now, the number one thing that I wish everyone pursued was getting a little group together, 3 people, 4 people, 2 people, and being committed to a spiritual life together. And that's all Jesus needs, is he needs like a little foothold in your life that is reinforced by someone else making the same commitment together. And that's how it's been for me. And now I've gone all over the world, and I've had incredible opportunities to meet amazing people and build relationships that I had never dreamed of ever having. But all of it has to do with the way that you do relationships in your most close circle of friends is a reflection of what you really value and what you really value spending time on. So for me and my roommates, we made a commitment to doing life together for a year at this house on Capitol Hill. And at the heart of that was going to be pursuing whatever Jesus had for us in this house, and the way that we could share the love that he had given us for each other, allow it to pour out of us into others on the street and in our community, and be available for him to send others to us, I think has been transformative. But it starts with, if you and a friend can commit to seeking Jesus spiritually, weekly, together, and then just expect him to show up. He shows up every time.
Yeah. And we've talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
That the connection between people is it has to be the lifeblood of our faith.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus died not only for connection between us and God, but then connection between each other too.
Yeah.
And again, I continue to come back to Jesus saying, they will know you are my disciples by the way that you love one another. That's the marker.
Yeah.
People will know that we follow Jesus, not because we have winsome words, not because we communicate super well, not because we have the best things and live the best life possible, or because we endure the trials, they will know that we love Jesus, that we follow him by the way that we love one another.
Yeah.
So there should be a community, an energy of love within a Christian community that is so attractive that people are just drawn to it.
Yeah.
And that the moment that they set foot in your churches, in your small groups, in your home, they experience something so radically different from anything else that they've experienced that they just have to ask, what is different about this space?
Yeah.
And all we can say is Jesus.
Yeah. I really struggle with that concept of, like, when I take what you just said, and then I immediately was thinking about, like, Sunday mornings.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, like, I think to most people, Sunday mornings is like the front line of the church, the way that they interact with random people often is kind of like they just walk in the door on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
I think when I think about, like, the early church, where they looked at their gatherings, was not for first timers to just show up and, like, oh, how's this? Is this worship good for me? Do I like the pastor? It was actually something you got invited into as you responded to the personal relationship that Christians were having with people in their community. So it's like you have a neighbor and you're loving your neighbor and your neighbor gets curious, and then you build out of that friendship, then you invite them into church and they get to come and experience. But you've already planted seeds and mended that garden and allowed the Spirit to kind of work in their heart. And because there's just times I feel like when I go to churches in DC, I'm like, dude, I don't know if I can go to church and feel like this is the place where I need to go and be refreshed in the Spirit, because Sunday morning is what that's for. I think Sunday morning changes so radically at different churches. For some people, it's like, I need to go because I need communion, or sometimes I need to go because I need worship, or I need to hear a good sermon or something. But I think the real heart of the church is not Sunday morning. And it comes from the relationship that we have with each other throughout the other 6 days of the week. And, I mean, you can call it life group or Bible study or whatever, but those are the cases, the spaces that the love has to be real.
Yeah.
Because that's where the fruit actually comes from. It's not, can you show up on Sunday morning and, like, shake hands and, like, be friends for an hour? It's like, hey, can you sit in a room with these 6 people for 3 hours and talk about what you really believe and what's really going on in your life and share it and receive it and be loved and love others? Because if you can, then you're following Jesus, and the fruit of that following Jesus in relationship to others will take over the church on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about, oh, I hope the pastor preaches the right sermon, or the communion isn't plastic cups this time.
You're not a critic of what is happening on service-wise.
Yeah.
There's a different reason that you're showing up, that you're there. Okay, there's so much to unpack here and talk about, right? You threw a couple things out there. Excuse me. I will work backwards just a little bit to open up some discussion. One, I think people are afraid of big church and churches growing because they're afraid that they're going to lose their community. But the reality of big churches that people will tell you, big churches that do it well at least, is that you don't lose community. You're not expected to know everyone in the building of a 40,000 person church. Like, you find the little pockets. And in fact, in a bigger church, you actually may be able to find a pocket that you would never find in a small church because there just wasn't a diverse amount of people. And so sometimes we're so afraid of big church because we're afraid we're going to lose that small community. But actually, you're probably going to find you have the potential. You have a greater chance of finding a more specific community that thinks, acts, and is in the same life stage as you. We've always had a problem here at Cold Springs Church with young adults. Because not a problem, but just there isn't many young adults. Right? At a bigger church, there totally is. Right? You're going to find that community that you can get super tight with in a
Yeah.
bigger church. And a bigger church hopefully is going to have systems that make it real easy to connect into a small group, into some of those things, however they would call it. So that's one thing there. The other thing on I guess how the original church gathered versus how we gather. How Sunday morning was back then versus how Sunday morning is now.
Yeah.
Church, when we say big C church, what do we mean?
Yeah.
We mean the people of Christ.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it doesn't matter what denomination, it doesn't matter what city,
Everyone that
it doesn't
follows
matter.
Jesus.
Anyone that follows Jesus, it is the big C church. So the small C church, the specific local church, right? Paul writes letters throughout the New Testament that we're reading to the small C churches to address issues that weren't applicable to the whole. I mean, he goes down as far as that one guy sleeping with his mom, I guess, right? Like, he goes super specific into the small C church.
Yeah.
And there's speculation on how big some of those churches were, small some of those churches were. They weren't all house churches.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people that took over temples that were bigger gatherings, large gatherings of people. Peter led one of the first revivals ever, and 3,000 people were baptized. So how many people do you think were actually there?
Yeah.
A lot,
dude.
Okay?
Yeah.
So this locked-in mindset sometimes that I think the ecclesiastic culture can carry is that, like, oh, the church of old was just house. No, there were bigger expressions.
Yeah.
Anyways, all of that is to say, the small C church is always going to be an expression and representation of the big C church. And if the big C church is the people of God, then the culture and context that the people of God are in is going to change how the small C church is expressed or represented in that culture.
Yeah.
That is not to say that culture or the world overtakes the church. It is to say that people in their setting, they show Jesus, express Jesus, the light of Jesus is shown in a different way.
Yeah.
So if we try and transport from cultures of old how Jesus' light was shown to that culture, to that context, to now, it will fall flat.
Yeah.
Because that's not our culture.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes reading the Bible is really hard, because it is written by humans to their culture, to their context, not to ours. So that's why sermons and teaching is important, because we're taking a message to that culture and saying, what are the principles and guidelines, and transporting it to our culture. So we have sermon illustrations, we have different stories, different ways of expressing the truth that is found in Scripture and transporting it to our culture. So how a church is run, built, and expressed has to change with the culture. Otherwise, it will cease to reach the culture. So if Sunday morning was transported from that culture, because you're absolutely right, Sunday morning was not for the new believer.
Yeah.
Sunday morning was mimicking the Jewish tradition of you have to be Jewish to walk in these walls. And so, but that was a culture of the other religions around as well. It was an exclusive thing. But what were some of the other things? Well, in Jesus' time, this was the best time for him to come, because the roads and ways to travel that were developed in that time were unprecedented for any time that was before.
Yeah, it kind of peaked.
So he was able to travel so many places that weren't available. The charts weren't pathed to before.
Yeah.
So then you were still in village culture, so to speak. So yes, the church over here was closed off and not inviting anyone in, right? But the whole town knew the people. The whole town saw the people, shopped with the people, did work with the people. They knew the church. The front doorstep of the church was on the fishing boat. It was in the market. It was in the community, because they all just lived like that. They weren't talking about population of the city, because they could count the people that were there. Right? And so there's this culture of, hey, the front doorstep of the church isn't actually the temple. You see that. We walk by that. So if you're going to come in here, you better be for real. Whereas now, or really the front doorstep of the church was the community or the place that was there.
Sure.
That's why Jerusalem was so important. Was because that's the holy city. Like anyone that steps foot in that city better know a lot about God, because that's where we all are, right?
Yeah.
Whereas now we can fly across the country in less than a few days. So the relational structure of human beings now is vastly different than once before.
Yeah.
Like if I move to a city, there's so many people there now, right? Like there's so many different expressions and cultures that are melded together that was never the case.
Yeah.
Races were separated over here into towns and cities and places. So the attractional model, or the model of Sunday morning is welcome for everyone, is that, hey, the city is no longer the front doorstep of the church. Now it's actually the church.
Yeah.
So everyone come here and check it out. And then there's kind of an expression of like, hey, if you become a member, then there's an expectation to be held that you believe these things, that you live your life these ways.
Yeah.
And there's a shift in that even now. But I guess all of that is to say what I said before, of if the small c church doesn't shift with the culture, then it will cease to reach it. Not that it adapts or it does adapt, but not that it takes things of the culture to say like, oh, these following Jesus, we can be drunk, we can do all these things, we can have sex before marriage because that's what the culture. It's not that. It's no. How are we sharing the light? And it has to reach this context, this culture.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So I think that's where, if we're looking for the Bible to tell us every detail of how to do something, then we're not reading it for what it is.
Yeah. You're going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you are, then I beg you to be consistent, because there is a lot of how to do stuff. And if you actually followed that, all of that, of how to live your life, of how to treat people, of how to do things, I think you'd begin to see how tough that would be.
Yeah. Do you feel like you see, because obviously you're in a season of transition and hoping to cast vision for future years at Cold Springs, do you see people like really attached to like the way a Sunday morning should reach people that is like I think it's important to have the attitude you just described of like, hey, the way that we do church on Sunday isn't because this is the most optimal like way of doing church on Sunday. It's because this is actually what reaches the culture. And the culture is dynamic and changes. And if we want to reach new young people, like we change because we want to go where the people are. We want, like Jesus, we want to be where the people are. How do you with grace like help people who have done church for 20 years the same way? Like how do you help them move into a heart space where they're like, yeah, I'm not attached to the way that we actually have to do Sunday morning, or we have to do a Bible study, or we have to do a life group or whatever, because like there's young people that are left behind, or whatever word you want to use. How do you approach those kind of conversations?
I don't know. I would say I don't have the experience in that.
Okay.
The stage that we're at within the transition is that I'm not the lead pastor.
Yeah.
So I'm not navigating that
Okay.
at this moment. So, we just did a switch in how Sunday morning is structured from, hey, we do 4 songs up front. That's when we're worshiping. We do the sermon, and we do like a bridge of a song at the end as kind of the last song. Not the send off, like everyone walks out, but it's like, hey, this is the last song.
Sure.
And we're going to do a smaller portion of it. And we switch to, hey, worship, announcement, sermon, send off song. to then going to, hey, announcements at the very front end when not necessarily everyone's there because
Sure.
people show up late to service or whatever. But at the start of the service, the first thing that we're starting with is announcements.
Yeah.
That's the church system stuff. Hey, here are the things that we're doing. We want you to be a part of them, and here's why, right? And then worship, couple songs, message, and then 3 songs at the end. And then a last true send-off bridge or whatever.
Yeah.
And the reason we switched that was to say the culture wants to encounter, experience Jesus. Wants to grab a hold of something real. And worship is one of the most effective ways that that begins to happen.
Yeah.
And so how can we move from segmented service style, worship goes here, announcements go here, sermon goes here, and then we're out, to once worship starts, it is a whole experience to leave room for us to respond to the move that God is doing in our life this week.
Yeah.
And so we are working and developing really hard. We're still figuring it out. How, once we start that first note for worship, how do we guard this space that it is so oily, it is so dripping with the Holy Spirit? So we do not do announcements in between because we don't want to break up time to respond.
Yeah. It's
We're going to do a giving project, but it's going to be less of an announcement, more of a story, more of a celebration because it's a response to what is God doing in our community.
That's good.
Right? And so I really view it as executive team, which is all the pastors on staff. It is our job to guard once that first note hits and that last word is said, that is simply a time to respond to the move that God is doing in our lives. And so that was a change made to flex with the culture to go, how do we provide that experience? So there's some things like, hey, the sermon is going to be within this time and it's going to be flowing with the worship a little bit more, right? So simple things, this is maybe in the details a little too much.
A little in the weeds.
But simple things like, hey, what are our transitions?
Yeah.
Before, prayer, deep, meaningful prayer, was the transition. And sometimes the failure of whoever's leading is that they mail in the prayer because it's simply a transition. But the intention is that it's deep, meaningful prayer that moves us to the next spot. Well, if we're saying that this is one cohesive moment of response to Jesus, does that prayer, even deep, meaningful, does it stop the expression of that response? So we're playing with that. We're figuring that out. I'm one that leans on, when I'm done with the message, I'm not going to pray. Not because I don't think it's good, but because I want us to flow in our thought and what God has been like kind of pushing on us right into worship.
Yeah.
And then you pray.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was a shift in Sunday morning and how we express it here at Cold Springs Church. And there's pushback, there's excitement, there's kind of all of the above.
Yeah.
But I would say I can't really answer your question because that weight is not yet on my plate.
Yeah.
And I think the principle of any shift that you make with people that have been around, they expect something, that they like something, that people are captured by vision.
Yeah.
And so if I'm making a change that someone doesn't like, but they're behind why I'm doing it, they're willing to try it out. And the proof in the pudding is, if it doesn't work or it doesn't accomplish the vision that we set out for, I have to be willing to go, meh.
My bad.
Yeah, kind of messed up on this one.
Yeah.
And I experienced that in real time with youth ministry. You're actually a part of this. Is that we switched to a different style of small group. That we didn't do age-based, gender-based. We did know, grow, go. Yeah. So it was like, hey, students, you decide what group you want to go to. Here's know. I want to know Jesus. Entry level. Grow. I want to grow with him and show. I want to lead. I want to show people Jesus. each week, pick whichever one you want. We want to invest in you in a specific way. And mixed gendered, but separate middle school and high school.
Sure.
And the vision was we're making disciples. That's our chief focus. And so we're going to, as leaders, be invested in individually making disciples on our own, building relationships with students. And the small group shift is to say, here is how we want to develop students through youth ministry. Okay, cool vision. Maybe even right now you're like, that sounds awesome. Let's do it, right? In practical, it didn't work out super good because we put a lot of pressure on students to make a public declaration of where they were in their faith that they weren't necessarily comfortable making.
It's a good reflection.
And then new people that came
Yeah.
that were like, I don't know where I'm at. I've never thought about that. I've never even heard about Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, my thought would be, okay, then you're in the know group.
Yeah.
You want to know him.
Yeah.
But it was so much pressure for them to say, oh, I'm new to this.
Yeah.
I don't know everything.
Yeah.
There's so much pressure. It made students super anxious to get to that point of the night. And so they would just follow their friend
Yeah.
and be in the wrong group and overflood certain groups because they liked certain leaders. And it just didn't work. And so I had to come back to the table and go, hey, let's make a tweak here. I don't think this is working. And that's hard because I have to admit, like, this didn't work out.
Yeah.
My idea, my thought didn't work here.
Yeah.
And we made a little bit of a shift that worked for a while, and now we're back to age-based, gender-based small groups. And along the way, it was important with my leaders and the people, a part of the ministry that had key stake, to go, this didn't work out. We're all feeling it. Let's just call that out. I think we should make this shift. What do you guys think? So,
And it takes a lot of humility as a leader to be open to not just like feedback from people that you're helping lead, but criticism sometimes of like,
yeah,
hey, bro, that didn't work.
yeah,
And you're like, okay,
absolutely.
let's navigate.
And it's so hard because even if you are willing to hear criticism, you also have to be willing for criticism to come and push through
Yeah.
to say, I see a gem on the other side
Yeah.
of this. Let's stick it out and get there.
Yeah.
So one of the principles is like, hey, we're going to try this for 6 months.
Yeah.
No matter how bad it goes,
Yeah.
we'll tweak it,
We're just
but
gonna-
we're going to try the base of this for 6 months. And when we get to the end of that 6 months, that is when we will assess whether we're making a big change or not.
Yeah.
But if you aren't humble in leadership, to be able to come back to the table and go, this didn't work. My idea wasn't a good one. It didn't end up working. I thought it was going to be fine. I thought God was telling me this, or I thought this was the move. And now that we're here, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It takes humility to be there, but then the criticism that you're listening to, I forget where I was going. I lost it.
Well, you can't take it all at face value. Like you have to be
Yeah.
like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm hearing you, and like that's not going to be calculated in. I have to move forward sometimes despite your criticism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Precisely. Yeah. As a leader, you have to remain strong in, I do feel convicted about this. I do want to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where I was going. Humility shows up in risk. If you aren't willing to take risks, sometimes that shows up because you aren't willing to mess up and have people go, that sucked. Right? So humility, some of the most humble people are the riskiest ones. Because they're willing to come back to the table and go, yeah, that sucked. That didn't look super good.
Yeah.
Right? And so,
It's a great word.
yeah. So I
I
think
like that.
I think one of the signs of true humility is that risk taking.
Risk taking.
Whereas like false humility that I would say I'm a victim to looks like defaulting to what the winsome people would want to do.
Yeah.
Hey, this is a good idea. Oh, you do? Like, okay. Like, I don't know it all. I guess we should just do that, right?
Yeah.
Like
It's just
that
being
false
inauthentic.
humility is
Yeah.
just defaulting to the people around you.
Yeah.
And that's still pride.
Yeah.
Well, I want them to like me. I want things to be okay. But the real humility is to go, yeah, I do think God is telling me to give this person the dream that I had last night. And I could be wrong. And I'm okay with being wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to do it because that's what I think right now. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's great. Where do you see, staying kind of on the topic of adapting to culture, like obviously politics is a huge topic now, especially with young people.
Yeah.
How do you balance, like, not ignoring the reality of current events, but also not like stoking the flame of conflict and division? Like, how do you, whether it's preaching or just in your personal relationships with students or other people at the church, like, how do you, just in everyday life with people at the church, like, how do you address reality without stoking the flame?
That's great.
Because that's the life I live in. But
I know. Yeah. I think I've had a great example in David Cook here that he mentions big moments. He brings them up.
Yeah.
And he's not, I think a lot of people question, like, where is he politically?
Yeah.
Which I think is cool and valuable because he talks about a plethora of different situations.
Yeah.
And so I think I want to preface this with I have no idea. Ask me a little later, and I might have some better, more experience-based
That's great
stuff.
Yeah.
So while I've been around and in higher leadership here at Cold Springs Church, Trump was attempted to be assassinated. Charlie Kirk was assassinated. The I forget, was it the senators or the congressmen in Minnesota that were assassinated in their home?
State legislators. Yeah.
That those three significant things happened, and they were all mentioned. And then this whole Palestine
Gaza thing.
Has been happening, and all of them were addressed and mentioned. So we have been a church that in the biggest things, we've mentioned it. We've talked about it. We've addressed it. And the focus has been not how do we speak our side or what the right thought is on this, but where is Jesus in this?
Yeah.
And how do we remind our people of Jesus? And usually, once something is brought up and addressed, it is not brought up again. So we haven't brought up Charlie Kirk again since that time.
Yeah.
We haven't brought up Palestine and Gaza again. We haven't brought up, if there's a sermon piece, right, to mention it, then sometimes that's dripped in. Yeah. But it's not been something that is, hey, just an update on this. Remember, Jesus there's not been that. Yeah. There's been some backlash on that, specifically with the Palestine Gaza stuff. Of like, why don't you guys talk about this more? It's still happening, by the way, right? Yeah. There's been some comments about that or thoughts about that. I don't know if that's the right approach, but I think if the heart is where is Jesus in the things that are happening in our world, that's the focus of a body of believers. Yeah. Is just relentlessly we pursue God.
Yeah.
That's what our focus is. And so I think it's really important to address political things, to address things that matter. And the balance we've struck here is address it firmly, strongly, and where's Jesus? And then let that lie.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if that's the right one. That's the approach that we have taken here. Yeah.
I think it's good. I think the spectrum of reactions I get when it comes to politics, especially in politics and faith, one side is like, I don't watch the news, I don't care, not that I don't care, but like I don't have the energy to
Yeah.
like follow all this
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Is this really going to affect my life at all?
Yeah.
No. So I'm just not going to put energy towards it. Like Jesus is in control. I'm just not going to worry about it. And then the other end is like I follow everything. I need to know what's happening in Nigeria and Venezuela and South Sudan, and I need to know everything because like I need to be informed and understand whatever. And I think there's a portion of that is important to understand what's happening in the world and be educated. But I think I most disagree with that first extreme of like, because it's not affecting me, I'm not going to pay attention to it. And I'm like, dude, I just think that makes it really hard to be a neighbor, a good neighbor, if you don't know that your neighbor's house like has a hole in the roof.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think when you look at Jesus' parable of the Good Samaritan, the start of that is like, who's my neighbor? Who do I be neighborly to?
Yeah.
Like, how far do I have to go to be a good neighbor? Is it like 3 houses down or 2 houses down or whatever? But the principle of the Good Samaritan is you address the need that's put in front of you.
Yeah. What you
Like the road you
across.
walk on, the ones you cross, those are your neighbors.
Yeah.
And unfortunately or fortunately,
Due to the
in
internet,
our world,
our
we
road
cross-
is really wide.
yeah, it's really wide. This doesn't mean, again, that you need to live a life of anxiety and fear because you're attached to every story that's going on. But, like, we, at a very simple level, to bring things to Jesus and recommit to his sovereignty in the world, it helps to have specific things that you bring to him instead of just general like world peace.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we want peace in Ukraine.
Yeah.
I'm bringing peace in sub-Saharan Africa. I'm bringing peace in
Yeah.
the Caribbean to you, Jesus. I'm bringing specific things to you, Jesus, because I care and I'm letting them go.
So and I think we just have
Which is, I think, kind of the middle approach that the church is doing a little bit, where it addresses it.
Yeah.
Here's Jesus
Yeah.
in it, and we continue to live our lives.
Lie. Yeah. I think, my standpoint is from a pastor viewing at this, which I think is a unique one in that, one, my chief responsibility is to Jesus, right? Which all of us is. That doesn't change for anyone. But as I think about how am I going to lead this people, or how are we as an executive team or whatever, whoever's the lead pastor, David Cook, how is he going to lead? How am I going to lead the youth group? One, I'm responsible to Jesus and what he wants me to talk about, where he wants me to go. And so it's on me to be in tune with how he speaks to me and to be invested in that, in my personal relationship with him. And then number two, my second one is that I have been placed to be over the youth group of this church, to guide, shepherd, and mold them. And then there's a transition plan that it would be over this church, right? But I'm watching David, who his main responsibility is to be a shepherd and roll over this church. Of course, be a husband to Pam, family, but you know what I'm saying. And so more important than what I think about these things, more important than what my convictions are about these world issues or these politics, the thing is, where is my flock? Where are the people of Cold Springs Church? What is hitting home for them? What is driving, home for them? What is affecting them? What is influencing them? What is shifting or disheartening them? And how do I speak Jesus and reorient us as a church towards him?
Yeah.
And so there may be some things politically that I'm really convicted about, motivated about. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What matters is the flock, the church. What matters to them, and am I speaking to that? Because I think the danger is, as churches, as pastors, we can be so hands off that we're not speaking to anyone. In our church, we're speaking to no one. We're just kind of speaking out. And so you've got to be in tune with the people that you're leading. So for the youth, we rarely talk about politics because they rarely talk about politics.
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And we do. Charlie Kirk was something that we addressed head on, and he got assassinated the morning on a Wednesday. Youth group was that night.
Yeah.
It was a very big night about that.
Yeah.
Because he was so influential on social media and the shorts and the reels, no matter what you thought about him, he influenced our youth vastly.
Yeah.
And so when I come to youth group, there was a depressed, somber state that he was gone.
Yeah.
And a confusion on what to do with people that were saying he deserved it.
Yeah.
It's like, so we had to talk about it. We had to address it. Now, no matter what I think about Charlie Kirk, about the assassination, my responsibility is to God, what he wants me to say, and to the people that I'm leading. And so we talked about it. But we haven't talked about Palestine and Gaza at youth group.
Yeah.
Because they don't talk about it. Because and there may be some that do, and one here that does, and one there that does. But as the group, as we're guiding the group, it's like what's weighing heavy on their hearts, and how do we bring Jesus to that?
Yeah.
So
I think that's
there's
great.
like a personal perspective in my life, and then a pastor perspective of how I'm gonna lead and operate, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I think that's the balance.
So I'm curious, with all of your travel, with all of your experience in your 25 years on this
My long
earth,
25 years.
as you look at, if we're Generation Z, which, yes, I'm a part of it. I rarely mention this and talk about this, but yes, I'm a part of Gen Z. I'm not a millennial.
I don't know if I believe that, Daniel. You kind of gave. That was not a very convincing.
I know. People, no, I actually talk about it a lot. That I'm the spearhead of Gen Z. I'm the tip, the very
of the spear.
I think I'm the last year that was involved there. And then the youth kids are like, "You were born in the 1900s?"
Yeah.
I'm like, barely. Like, not really. It's not like I remember any of it.
Dude, I love that. Oh my gosh.
As we look at whatever the next gen is called, Alpha, I think.
You're asking the wrong person.
Whatever that next
no
category
idea.
of kids that are like 10, 11, 12, or
Yeah.
even other Gen Zers and
Sure.
graduating high school and some of that. What would be your encouragement to them as they step into adulthood?
It's not that bad. I don't know how to tell you. It can be awesome, but you allow fear to set the standard for your life. And the biggest problems facing young people right now is fear and the inability to risk. Like, we see more and more people. I think by default, most people are going to be at home more, are going to be plugged in online, are going to be not dating, not going out, not engaging with a community in real life as much. And these are all very dangerous things. And I think the rise of AI and the way that big social media companies are going to develop over the next few years in targeting consumers in that lifestyle, it's going to get much worse. So if you want a life of risk and adventure and the fullness of joy, it takes very little stepping out to actually move into a space that very few people have been before. And I think that'll be the trend. But I don't think it's that crazy. Like, growing up can feel very intimidating.
Yeah.
And like, what am I going to do with my life and whatever. Like, the latest stat I've seen is that our generation will have on average like 17 unique jobs throughout our lifetime, compared to people who, like, back in the day, you start in the brick factory when you're 13 and
It's
you
just-
die in that brick
It's
factory.
not that long ago.
Yeah.
My grandfather on my dad's side worked at in the metal industry, steel industry, and he worked the same job his whole life.
Yeah. So, I mean, already
for the same company, I should say.
There you go.
Not the same job role, but yeah.
Same idea, I guess. But so, I mean, my encouragement is just take a risk. I mean, we live in the best country in the world that has the best like safety nets possible. Like if you're in Egypt or Kenya and you like start a business and it fails, like your family starves.
Yeah.
Like in America, especially if you have a family that cares about you, like I'm not worried I'm ever going to be homeless unless I'm maybe like doing heroin one day or something. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
how insane my life would have to be before I'm worried about not having like a roof over my head, or like I have invested in people and relationships and know that I can risk a lot and the downside is actually very little. And I think from, this is not for everybody, but for many people, like the downside of risk is actually very small when you're young. And you should just try it and fail and then realize, oh, I can try again actually, and try again and try again. That's the encouragement I want to give.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I love you, buddy.
Love you too, Daniel.
And I'm happy you came here. If anyone's wondering, like when we hang out at In-N-Out, this is all it is.
Yeah, we could be at In-N-Out right now.
Yeah, 100%. Like this is all it is. We have conversations like this going back and forth. So when I told Jared, come on the podcast, I said, that's all I want is that. So you got a little bit of intro at the beginning and then what do you think about the drink?
Okay.
The protein, Nuri, ultra filtered milkshake. 30 grams of protein is kind of crazy with only 1 gram of sugar and only 150 calories. That's kind of great. Yeah. Sponsor us. I don't know.
It's great.
-10 to +10. 0 is available right in the
This is how I was thinking about it, because I was thinking about this like 30 minutes ago. I was like, well, how am I going to score this?
While I was talking and you were bored?
Yeah, I just kind of tune out. You know how it goes. So work on that for your next podcast guest.
Yeah,
Be a little
fair
more
enough.
engaging. Kidding. I was going to give it like a 4 or 5, but then I realized I don't think I would ever...
Ever have again?
If I saw this, if there was, if I'm
important.
in a 7-Eleven looking at this row of drinks, even if I'm looking for a protein shake,
you don't think you'd grab this one?
this is like number 7 on the list.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine a world that I would go, oh, the Nuri ultra filtered milkshake.
Okay.
Yes.
So what would you rate it?
Like a 2.
Yeah.
I drank it. It's fine. But am I gonna pick it up again?
It tastes good. Protein shake is an interesting category, right?
Yeah.
Because some of them taste real bad.
Yeah.
And chunky. This one's not that, but I'm with you. I'm at maybe a 3.
Yeah.
There
Have
you
you
go.
had this before with guests?
No. Nope. First time. We try and do unique stuff around here in these parts. But one day we'll get sponsored by a specific drink, and that'll be all she wrote. They'll just send us unique flavors and stuff like that.
I feel like my only recommendation that could really elevate this is if you transition from drinks to cigars.
Oh, yeah, great. Yeah.
So you can just try a new cigar
Yeah.
every podcast.
Yeah. And then no one wants to meet in this building.
Well,
No one wants to. Yeah. Thank you for the recommendation. I'll put that in the box of other recommendations that we would have.
Hey, I'm glad I made it in the box. All right.
Yeah. Amen. All right. Well, Jared, thank you for joining us. I appreciate your voice and being a part of this. And for those of you that are watching, thank you for watching and welcome back to the new year of 2026. We've started the Pop Podcast back up. I hope that you are tuning in, staying tuned, and ready for a great year of a podcast like this. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of this. Love you guys. See you next week.
Bye.